breeze blowing, storm clouds moving in. Whatever's gonna happen, it's about to begin. I remember what the drunk donkey told me when he said, son, don't fear. Mike's where the page life is about to appear. Then he's gonna tell you about the wind and the rain. Gonna tell you which way it's going, and if it's gonna be a hurricane. Don't you worry about the news that they try to hide. Just click on Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide. Well, there'll always be some haters, but they don't understand that Mike's got a friend and 100,000 more across the land. Well, if you want to know it first and you want to know it right and you want to have time to plan, Drunk Donkey Nation tells your friend Mike, he's your man. Then he's gonna tell you all about the wind and the rain. Gonna tell you if it's gonna be a storm or if it's gonna be a hurricane. Don't you worry about the news others try to hide. Click on Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nationwide. Yeah, here at Mike's page, Drunk Donkey Nation Pride.
All right, everybody, good morning. We are live. What's up? Happy Wednesday. Hope everyone is doing good. I remembered the music today. Monday, I did not hit the audio button, and we didn't have our music. But we got it today. Hunter's feeling a little emotional today, so he was our dog today. So I picked Hunter. I think he missed his daddy. You miss your daddy, buddy? Good morning, Miss Rachel Fowler. Peggy, it's your birthday. Everybody say happy birthday to Peggy in Homosassa. R.E. Riggs. What's up? Shelly over there. That's right. This is Hunter. What's up, Craig? What day is it? Good morning, everybody. Vanessa, DeLand, Peggy. What's up, Harriet from Charleston? Do y'all follow Shay Gibson up there, my buddy? Chris from Perdido Key. Where's that at? Stephen Best, Carolina. Will Parker from South Carolina. Katie, how's it going? Countdown to our cruise. Utopia of the Seas. What's up, Mr. Bill? Elmquist, how's it going? So anyway, it's our Daily Brew, everybody. We are live. It's Wednesday, April 24th, here from Oldsmar, Florida. We're going to talk about the weather. Talk about our summit yesterday in Orlando that I was so proud to be a part of. Can't wait to show a couple pictures. Talk about that. Oh, Perdido Key is south of Pensacola. How about that? Sounded like it was the other part of the state. Good morning, Ms. Lisa Hartman. What's up, James? A couple days of softball. We do follow Shay. All right, Harriet. Good deal. I like that. He's the man. Oh, I remember Sailor Sean. Shelly. Morgan, what's up? Morgan was asking about our cruise, Hunter. Dogs are not allowed. All right, so our Daily Brew getting ready to rock and roll. The topics are sneaking in closer and closer. Daily Brew brought to you by our great friends at ABC Fine Wine and Spirits. No dogs allowed there either, Hunter. So if you live in my beautiful state of Florida, born and raised, make sure you visit your local ABC, Fine Wine and Spirits. Not only do they have good stuff to drink, they have a heck of a salsa aisle and cigars. Yohel, if you're around, I know he's a big Panther fan. Our Lightning aren't looking too good. The Rays aren't looking too good. What's going on with our sports right now, man? Rays need to win a game again. James Keene, Manatee County, what's up? Well, anyway, so what's going on? Interstate fires up north. Yeah, there are fires up north. I don't know what it is about the fires up there. It's wild, right? All right, first and foremost, let's talk about a couple things, and we're going to talk about our summit yesterday. So this weekend coming up Saturday, Oldsmar Hurricane Expo time, 3rd or 4th year I've been doing that one, keynote speaker. They must have ran out of options. Our good friends at Furman Power Equipment are donating a generator again this year. So if you want to win a generator, then come to the Hurricane Expo, as they're going to be talking about Pinellas County and evacuations and all that good stuff as we get ready for 2024. But come by and see me. I'm going to speak. It's only 2 hours, and not my speech, but it's only 10 to noon. You can win a generator this Saturday. All right, so yesterday we were at the summit. Let me talk about that real quick. That was my good friend Kevin Guthrie. You might know him as a deputy director or executive director. Executive. He was a sheriff or highway patrolman. The executive director, the big man, head honcho. That was his opening speech there. But it was a meteorology summit, and it was a bunch of broadcasters there. As you saw, I posted some pictures. It was big. It was big. There was pretty much everybody in the weather world was there from the state of Florida and beyond. So I was very humbled to be there. So thank you, Kevin, and everybody from Florida Division of Emergency Management for inviting me. Had a good time speaking. Met this gentleman, Jamie. He is a big dog at the Hurricane Center, National Hurricane Center. And he had a great speech. Talked a little bit about spaghetti models, and maybe they're kind of under the impression of not sharing a lot of models and spaghetti models and Euro models and GFS models. So that was a little bit of the discussion. I felt a little hurt by that, but we actually chatted at the end for about 20, 30 minutes. Great guy. So hopefully I came across good to him. I'm sure not everybody has a positive opinion of what I do, and I totally respect that. And sitting in a room full of meteorologists, they have to deal with me. But I felt a great vibe in the room, and especially from the Hurricane Center. So thank you, Jamie. And I'm really excited about the cone. We talked a lot about this new cone coming next year. Totally love it. I noticed something. I don't think not a lot of people noticed. The new cone is going to incorporate watches and warnings. And as the cone reaches landfall, the cone starts to disappear, because now the overlaying images of watches and warnings now will be what you see. And those are going to extend well outside the cone, which they should. I love it. I just love it. Love it. Love it. I think it's going to be great. They're going to whip it out, I think, in August. He said August 1st or something. So it's not going to come out right away, but the cone will be less focused now, and you will see watches and warnings overtake that cone, which I love. Totally love it. So a lot of discussion about that. But it was a great chat, and I got to meet my good friend Paul Delgado was there. Local here in Tampa Bay. We talked a ton. met several times over the years, and found out Paul likes old fashions. So we are going to have an old fashioned or two together. Anthony, no, we did not talk about that. It was more Anthony. So and I like the purpose of this. The purpose of this particular summit was how to communicate better. It was put on by Florida Association of Broadcasters, and basically it was a summit to share ideas. They had me speak about the roles of social media and things that I've learned and can possibly help other meteorologists. So I felt a little weird there because I didn't want to step on toes, and tell them, try to sound like I know what I'm talking about. But, I think I offered some really good advice. Came up with a lot of good points, I believe. So I was happy to remember most of them in discussions. So it was a great 30-minute speech, and got to meet my good friend Matt Devitt. Never met him in person. Matt, big dog down in Cape Coral, Fort Myers area during Ian, and great guy. I love him to death. We got to finally hang out. He wants to have some beers, so that's cool. We hung out. Brooks Garner, I've known for years. He was there. He's back in Florida, and great to meet him finally. So that was cool. Along with many other people, but that was cool. That was me on the stage talking. So anyway, I was very, very, very fortunate to be a part of that, and never dreamed in a million years I would be sitting there amongst all those professionals that do this, now there. So I was very happy. So there you go. That's where I was yesterday. Now we're back home, my little office. Mackenzie, good morning. Harold, good morning. What's up? Becky, thanks for the stars. Chris, what's up? Scott from Punta Gorda. Harold, yes, he is awesome. I love him. I think he is what it is. Hey, I met one of our YouTubers over there too, Shelly. One of our weather guys. I have to tell you who he is. Mary Krause, what's up? Good morning. This is current. Hey, Cape Coral. Amanda, you follow Matt Devitt? He's the man. Oh, turn off my phone here. I need to set, so years ago we set the Alexa timer. Alexa, set alarm at 10:30 a.m. to turn phone volume back on.
Second alarm set for 10:30 a.m.
Doesn't tell me what it's for though. I always forget to turn the volume back on the phone. Then I get everybody mad at me. Why did you answer? I'm like, well, I forgot to turn the phone back on. It is what it is. Good morning. Hey, I saw the tropical wave, Adam. Yes, we'll talk about that here in a second. Treasure Island, Andrea, what's up? Ding dong, Morgan. Yeah, I know. Everybody's Alexa. Sorry, now you got to figure out how to stop the alarm. All right, Alexa, turn off alarm for 10:30 a.m.
10:30 a.m. alarm canceled.
Canceled. There you go. All right. Everybody's alarms are now off. All right, so here's the current satellite. Let's talk about the weather a little bit. Rachel Fowler just went off. Everybody's went off. So anyway, communication is huge, and I think one of the biggest things I talked the most about was trust. And, specifically speaking, weather folks, Floridians, other areas, everybody, this was a Florida summit, but obviously I talked to everybody, but, we're smart and we see through the BS sometimes, right? I think establishing who you trust is huge. And when it comes down to needing information, people are going to turn to who they trust the most. And you establish that trust throughout the year, more than just weather. People want to like who they follow, and that's huge, and that takes time to develop, over all platforms. So we got a little spinner. What the heck's this little guy? We're going to talk about that. This is the current water vapor map. So it's extremely dry across the south, and that's going to be the theme for several days. Okay? Right, Cindy. Trust is big. You don't want overdone hype. We had those big faces for Emily when she senior night the other night, and I put them on the mantle. So I got 2 big old pictures of Emily looking at me. It's hilarious. I'll have to show you. Let me show you real quick. This is funny. This is what I'm looking at right now. It's crazy. So there's my... got to clean the lens. How come nobody's created a tear-off windshield for camera lenses so they don't get all foggy? Look. This is hilarious. So this is what I'm talking about. So there's our mantle, and I got the 2 faces of Emily looking right at me. What are you doing looking at me? Weather. All right, I got some windows opened up here. So there's that. Here is the current map from this morning. Hey, it's still cold up north. Frost and freeze. So they had a definitely cool April here. A little bit of fog. That's it. Pretty boring weather map today. Cold and nothing. Here's what it looks like on the surface charts. We got a big high pressure in place. This is going to be the story. Big old H. All the action is going to be here for several days. Nada. Samta. High pressure. High pressure means heat. We'll show you some temperature maps here again. There's your rainfall. 5-day rainfall. My goodness, right? That's Wednesday to Monday. So it's through the weekend. No rain in Florida for the whole weekend. No rain the next 5 days. No rain for the East Coast. No rain for upper Gulf Coast. All the action stays in the middle part of the U.S. There you go. Dry. High pressure. High pressure spinning clockwise, keeping all that flow and blocking anything from happening down here. So there you go. 5-day rain map. Not much cooking. We do have an interesting surface chart, though. Look at this. All right. This is what it looks like. weathernerds.org. 2 features. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to do a hype video about Double Trouble. That's just because it's a Leonard Skinner song. That's right, Morgan. I saw your little YouTube video on the boats. That's pretty cool. Spin. Jeannie got a birthday. Hey, my aunt's birthday is today. 98 years old. I think it's 98. But happy birthday, Betty, my dad's sister. So, Sarah, I don't know much about the eruption there. I apologize. So there you go. 2 things. Let's talk about them. So what do you see out there? Well, we did not have Alberto, obviously. You never know. They might come back and analyze it. I don't know. It's attached to a front. But let's talk about the 2 things. So the 2 features we're looking at in the Atlantic for spinach is this guy and this guy. Now, May 15th, we start getting National Hurricane Center updates 8 o'clock, 2 o'clock. That's when we start getting the areas of interest. The yellow crayons, the orange crayons, red crayons. They start to come out. Hey, where's this from? Anybody been there? There's only water in there. Two spinners. But anyway, May 15th, we start getting NAC updates. And then June 1st officially is the first day of hurricane season. All right, let's look at these really close. Now, this little guy has been out there for days. And I didn't talk about it. I probably should have more, but I didn't. But look at that thing. I mean, come on. That's got some convection firing around the center. Clear spin. Low pressure. It's totally separated from frontal line. It's independent. That's the one in the middle Atlantic. I mean, that is classic. Let's look at the visible. Look at this. Look at that. What the hell is going on, right? Look at that. Maybe they'll reanalyze that. Last year we had a system in January. They went back and said, oh, you know what? It was tropical. But that is crazy. That's in the middle Atlantic. Not going to go anywhere. Not going to hurt anybody. It's out in the open water. But, I mean, look at that. It's cute little guy. It's Hunter. That's Hunter. I don't know. Anyway, that's what's going on. There's some convection by it. All right, here's the other guy. Now, this is the one that people probably thought I was hyping. I didn't mean to, but I just said, Alberto, is that you? That was a couple days ago. So this is left over on a low pressure tag to a frontal line. And this is current satellite. I'm telling you, it's another one that looks... It's tied to a front, technically. If you go to... I didn't look today. I hope it's going to show what I hope it's going to show because I didn't even look today. There you go. So technically, you can argue it's trying to break off, maybe, but there, that's a frontal line, obviously here. Woo! So that's kind of, here's the other guy spinning away. This is the one we just talked about. So two little spinners out there. Isn't that crazy? Look at that. But that's what it looks like. Let's look at a visible satellite. And it'll look pretty sexy. There you go. Even got a little eye. Got an eye. I see you. Harold, there you go. We can have another sponsor, Crayola. So that's what whatever. It's tropical season. It's coming, right? The definition, though, it's got to have convection. Can't be attached to a front. But we've seen them come off of fronts. I don't know. They're not talking about it, so. Walks like a duck. Anyway, it's going northeast, so it's not a big deal. It's not going to hurt nobody. But I can look at it all day. I like it. All right, what's the weather going to be like the next few days? All right, here's today. Morning, Miss Sherry Brown. Weather today, very boring for everybody unless you live in the middle U.S. There's nothing going on. We got storms in Texas. Where are you going, Hunter? Hunter, I know where you're going, buddy. You're going to go bathroom. He turns around and looks right at me. Look, I called him out, right? I just called him out. Let's take a picture of that. Now he is standing there because he knows I busted him. But watch. This is what he's doing right now. I got to show you this. Hey, Hunter! He started walking away again. Look at him. He's looking right at me. He's like, what? Now, if I don't pay attention to him, he's going to think he gets away with it. I'll take a picture of him walking away. Because I know he's going. I told you this story. We have a pad for him. At least, he's gone. He's gone. Now you see him, now you don't. Weather today, storms out west, tornadoes, hail, all that good stuff. Tornado chasers are in heaven right now. We got that today. Here's tomorrow. Large enhanced risk tomorrow. Hail, tornadoes tomorrow. Classic tornado alley. There you go. Thursday. Friday, more of the same. A little bit of shift, but we got this high pressure. Everything's pulling up to the north. There's Friday. Repeat Saturday, like every day. Every dang day. There's Saturday. We already got a 30% hatched area across Oklahoma there and around. So there's Saturday, and then Sunday. Look at that. More of the same. So everything's being blocked here in the East Coast. Everything's going straight north. There you go. A lot of storm. I mean, there's a lot of storms coming. A lot of tornadoes. So Ryan Hall and Reed Timmer are going to be busy. That's going on there. All right, hazards map. I like this map. What is that? This is awesome. I do like these maps, but they are hard to read sometimes. But you get the idea. Basically, where's all the action at? Boom, right there. So this is day 3 to day 7 maps. I love it. It's on my site. I have them on Mike's Weather page, obviously. I love looking at my page. 20 years ago, I started Mike's Weather page. Why'd I call it Mike's? Because it was supposed to be just for me. It was my weather page. And it's still my weather page. I put graphics on here that I like. There it is, right here. I like this graphic. I look forward to seeing it every morning. And I'm like, oh, what's that weather? So anyway, there's that. But that's the weather. All right, boom, 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 boom. What's this over here I have opened up? Oh, we're going to talk about hurricanes here in a second. So anyway, there you go. Heavy rain, 427, 26, 27, 28, 429. Heavy rain, obviously. The 5-day map showed that. Severe weather, everywhere in the middle U.S. So there you go. That's what's coming. Okay. Talk hurricanes here in a second. How about that? Don't forget, Oldsmart Hurricane Expo, Saturday, 10 to 2. You can win a Furman generator just by showing up. James Fort, good morning. Good luck at your doctor's appointment. Williams over there for the 45th Space Wing Weather Command. All right. That's right, Morgan. Career day, man. This is what they live for, right? All right, a little bit of tropics talking. Milk 35. Good morning. What's up? Nothing's up. Things are quiet, which is great. Things are great. I kind of tweaked the side over here a little bit. I got rid of some stuff. Been doing a little work on the weather page. I got 2 stores now for the storm gear. Friday we did our hat on the top here. Julie mailed those out already. Here's our shop for that. There's our hurricane hat. Still got some hurricane hair shirts too, by the way. These went really good. I got tanks now. Hurricane hair, don't care. Those are pretty popular. But anyway, the link's up there. There's our simple white design hat. One color, everybody liked it. Simple. So anyway, nothing else new on the page really, links wise. You got all this area cluttered up. I had a lot of stuff. There's a link on this page right here. Right there. Every morning you can turn that on. Why is it 30 seconds? Well, click on it. Listen.
The Tropical Weather Outlook. Issued at 6:12 p.m. For the North Atlantic, Caribbean Sea and the Gulf of Mexico, tropical cyclone formation is not expected during the next 7 days. This is the last regularly scheduled tropical weather outlook of the 20...
So when you get up in the mornings, once we start May 15th, they'll start doing this daily at 8 and 2. You can click on that and get a audio update. Hunter's evil. He's just sitting there looking at me. Come here. I think he wants me to take him outside. Andrew saw a post about 3 storms to the Pacific Northwest. Yeah, I don't follow that like I should, but this is their time of the year that they get a lot of Pacific storms out that way. A lot of wind, low pressure areas. Kind of normal this time of year. Where was that link, Becky? Right here, very top. MP Store 1, MP Store 2. And if you're a Brew Crew member, you get discounts. So, appreciate all of our supporters. All right, let's talk a little bit about tropics. This was shared a couple days ago. This was a weather map. I don't forget who sent it, but it is a weather graph showing sea surface temperatures. All right, so the big chatter is sea surface temperatures. That's one of the reasons that we're seeing hurricane forecasts that are through the roof. Where they normally are in blue from 1982 to 2023 versus where they are today. Water temperatures are hot, a couple degrees Celsius. above normal. So they continue to trend along this path. And, we talk about it. Here's a line. Are they going to stay parallel to normal? And if that's the case, oh boy. We got a lot to watch once we get into August, September, October. But no one really knows what's going to happen with the water temperatures when it really matters. Interestingly enough, talking with Jamie from the National Hurricane Center yesterday, he brought this up, which we talked about also last week. Remember we talked about the big plume of dust? He mentioned that too. We talked about the dust last week. We had a big plume of dust that came across. I got to go meet Fire Chief at 10:45, so I can't remember. I can't talk too long. But we had this big plume of dust here, and you can see it. This is a couple days ago. This is as it came across the Atlantic. Quite heavy. It was a big one. Big plume of dust. What that does is it cools the Atlantic, and seen this over the years so much. It's like window tint. It blocks the sun from touching the ocean. And we talked about this. It's a fascinating thing. And what also a big plume of dust means, it takes winds to push that across the Atlantic. And when you have winds blowing across the Atlantic, it creates waves. And when it creates waves, it brings upwelling up. It brings that cold water from the below the surface up. Very normal this time of year. So, the water temperatures could cool down to normal based on history. So we'll see. This is a great map from Tropical Tidbits. It's a 7-day anomaly change of where the temperatures have been the last 7 days. And we saw a big cool down last week, and it's continuing. This was all blue last week. That area has shifted this way. This is left over from that plume of dust. So the water's cooled, and now they're warming back up. This is just where they're at compared to normal. So, still warmer than normal, yes. But, who knows what's going to happen when it counts, right? There's two things to talk about with hurricane season. Let's talk about 18. Let's talk about 17. So, two things this year. So the Caribbean, when we have El Nino years, there's a lot of upper level wind shear. So the areas in the Caribbean sometimes don't get much action. This year being La Nina, there's going to be less wind shear. So area number one, definitely more activity likely in the Caribbean. From Barbados westward. That's because there's going to be less wind shear. The other thing that matters is what happens here. And doesn't matter what happens out here for this area, because these storms either fizzle. It's hard for a hurricane. Jamie also talked about this too, which, it's hard for large hurricanes to maintain that. They go through eye wall replacements. They start opening up. They lose that potent little power core. And over time, strong hurricanes just naturally weaken. But they don't weaken when they form close to this area. And 9 out of 10 storms that have been 150 miles an hour or greater that have hit the U.S. were only tropical storms 3 days out. So this is the area that we worry about a lot. Now, we did have Irma. So the reason I brought up 17 was I think the likelihood of a long track hurricane is more this year for a couple reasons. One is, the water temperatures are warmer, so that would support a hurricane Irma was a long track hurricane. Did not weaken much. It defied that logic of weakening. That's because it has a lot of fuel. And, a lot of the discussion is when we have this strong Atlantic ridge, we have more of a west push. So, definitely very interested this year. Long track hurricanes, more action coming off of Africa, giving these a chance to develop and track. And these are the painful ones. 10 days tracking. Hey, yeah, it brings a lot of action to the website. Look at this graphic here. When a system starts out here in blue, look at it. That's 12 to 14 days if it's going to make the continental U.S. So anything that comes off Africa, 10, 12, 13, 14 days. A week plus it takes to get from here to here. And that's painful. A lot of time to watch. A lot of changes. Points that I brought up a lot yesterday that I've been seeing more and more of are these 2 to 3 day landfall. Before landfall, 2 to 3 days out, how things change. And they are still within that cone. But looking at outliers 2 to 3 days out, so many storms don't follow that center line 2 to 3 days out. And that makes huge impacts for storm surge and the winds on who gets what. Now, Idalia shifted a little bit south and east. And at one time, Tallahassee was going to get the brunt of it. It made a little shift. Changed a lot on who got what and who got less. Irma, 2 days, 3 days out, was supposed to miss Miami or clip Miami. It ended up going to the Keys and hit the other side of the state. Ian, we know that one turned big time. Charlie turned. Laura turned. They all make little subtle 20-mile shifts, and that changes everything. To the point that you need to really pay attention, I think, more than ever, on these outliers and focus on trends, When you can start to believe in outliers is when you start to see ensembles shifting with those outliers. And it's just not looking at models like Irma. Okay, that year, Irma, 17, we had a strong Atlantic high pressure system. And I remember that year talking about that a lot because we talked about the strong Bermuda high that year a lot. Well, the original models had Irma turning, assuming this high was weak. But guess what? History proved this high got strong, and it kept building, and it kept pushing Irma more west. Ian, the year of cold fronts, a couple years ago, we had fronts coming down early. Fronts lift and turn. Fronts break down this high and push it this way, allowing more of a curve. And that's what we saw with Irma, or Ian, was cold front coming down, allowing this thing to lift and turn. Common sense a little bit said, hey. Common sense with Ian that year said the GFS was terrible. Don't pay attention to it. And, my only argument with the NHC, and if you're listening, I'm not arguing with you, so I hope you're listening. They say don't look at the models, but if you read the discussions in the NHC discussions, they specifically quote most every model. The Euro's doing this, the GFS is doing that, the H-Wharf's doing this, the ensembles are doing that. This is why we drew the cone based on that. And with Ian, all of a sudden, one day they said the GFS has been proven to be the outlier, and we are now not paying attention to the GFS, basically. I'm going to never forget that. And then the cone went from this to that because they took the GFS out of the equation, and all of a sudden, the majority of models went that way. So sometimes you got to just go with gut, common sense, believe the models. I always bring back Michael. You know, originally it was supposed to be a tropical storm hitting the Panhandle, and this is something that was brought up yesterday. The communication is so big right now, and how to communicate, different ways to communicate, people's attention spans. When Michael first came out, apparently I didn't talk to anybody, I didn't go up there. Apparently a lot of folks listened to the initial forecast, and they saw that, you know, 2 days out, this was the first NHC cone. You know, came out on Saturday night. It was supposed to hit Wednesday morning, just a few days. First forecast was a tropical storm. That was major change from tropical storm to Category 5. But if you followed, and I specifically said this is what I do, you know, that storm in particular, there was a lot of models. All the models were predicting this to be 930, 40 millibar strong major hurricane. And I shared it. I basically said, just, you know, if you live in that Panhandle, I'd be taking this serious. Because models usually, if you know how to read them and know how to, you know, communicate, that's one thing. I mean, everybody's got the same tools that I got, and it's all how you present them. It's all how you interpret them, right? Nobody has their own secret satellite in the sky. Everybody's got the same tools and how to interpret them, and it's how you communicate those models and how you choose to communicate those models, right? I mean, and every storm, I remember sitting here with Dorian and trying to help people understand, I see how this storm's going to stop, you know, and we had high pressure systems, and we had, you know, nobody in Florida believed that there was, you know, how's that thing going to just stop? And so we had models, you know, Harvey, I'll never forget sharing rain models and people getting mad at me, like, but I'm like, listen, it's going to stall. The waters are hot. There's nowhere to go. Like the steering currents with Harvey were stopped. And I remember tracking Harvey, and we were watching, you know, we were doing the same stuff, and we were looking at steering currents, and we're like, this thing's got nowhere to go. There's a high pressure coming in from the west. There's a high pressure to the north. High pressure over the Atlantic or Gulf. It sat there, and there was models showing 30, 40, 50 inches of rain. You know, people were like, that can't happen. Well, it did happen, you know. Oh, man, and Ian was just, you know, I'll never forget doing that video on that Sunday morning, you know, and just had that bad feeling that, you know, Ian track, let's see if it comes up. I just never forget. I'm like, what do I do? Do I go online? Do I, you know, say this? You know, I was like, because people listen, and that's a scary thing when. Where's Saturday at? Or maybe it was Sunday morning. I think it was Sunday morning. I did it Sunday morning, early Sunday morning. So here you go. So I remember getting up Sunday morning. It's a Sunday at 11 o'clock. So I did my video like at 7 a.m. on a Sunday morning. And, you know, Saturday, Emily had homecoming. I'll never forget this. I shared this story yesterday with all the big dogs in the room. Saturday, the model shifted a little bit. And one thing I kind of argued a little bit with the NHC is I know they don't want us to focus on the cone, and they don't want us to, you know, pay attention to that center line. But, including me, I got to stop this. Every 6-hour update, they note which way the cone has shifted. And that's like the cone shifted west. And everybody's talking. Like, I heard people walking. Man, Ian shifted. We're okay. We're in the clear. You know, it shifted west. And I'm like, oh man, first off, even if this were to happen, what we saw with Idalia, storm surge would have been tremendous. The east side of a storm, tornadoes, tremendous. That system was so big. This is Ian. No, we weren't in the clear even with this forecast. But the human emotion of every track change is something that we all experience. And at the time of this on Sunday, other than the GFS, everything was pointing to the Florida West Coast, especially the European ensembles. And the thing that's tricky with spaghetti models is not all spaghetti model plots use the Euro. So it kind of skews the thinking sometimes when the GFS and some of its members are going one way and the Euros. So anyway, big change, right? I mean, yes, the cone showed where the eye was going to go, but everybody doesn't focus on that. And the Euro was obviously, and the UK predicted this perfectly. The UK also predicted a Fort Myers scenario or turn that direction. So this was a lesson that, just a few days out, this is Sunday morning. People should have been prepping on the weekend, right? The other argument that I had is this, and this really bothers me more than anything. So this and that. All right. The problem with this graphic right here was the talking points were it was going to be weakening before landfall. Weakening before landfall. Weakening before landfall. Everybody's talking about a weakening before landfall. So people got it in their head it's going to be a weakening hurricane before landfall. That's just what should weaken by landfall. And nothing against TV Mets. But it seems like once there's a talking point, they all run with it, So the talking point was, you listen to the news, we got a major hurricane, expected to weaken before it's supposed to weaken before landfall. Okay. So if you're living on the Florida West Coast, you're thinking, it's going to weaken before landfall. The other thing is it's going to make impact on Friday. Okay, so it's going to be, end of the week, weekend, weakening hurricane. So Wednesday, I circled Wednesday, all right? Wednesday, 2 days earlier, it was still a major expected. Well, here's the problem, and this is the big problem. Wednesday, this M was still an M, and it was 2 days earlier. And trust me, I know people will definitely confirm this. There was panic in the air because now it's not a weakening hurricane on Friday. It is a major hurricane on Wednesday. Huge blunder, I believe, in communications, along with comparing it to Charlie. Charlie, tiny little storm, fast-moving storm. Nothing compared to Ian. So, a lot of lessons to be learned, and that was just a couple years ago. So are we any better now than we were then? Like 10 years ago? I don't know. But my opinion, that is too big of a shift in a couple days out. And a lot of it, I believe, was the stubbornness of the GFS model and not wanting to not believe it when it performed terribly all year long. And then 17, let's look at Irma. 17. Why did that thing go there? Oh, well, let's go here. Let's fast forward time here. So originally, Irma was supposed to hit Miami. We evacuated all of the east coast of Florida. And again, that storm, even though we were in a cone for some reason, everybody on this side of the state thought that we were in the clear because I think everybody focuses on that center line. And, this is Thursday. I mean, it's, expected, Saturday, 3 days away, basically. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Supposed to turn hard and basically clip Florida. That was Thursday when, just a few days before landfall. I think 10th, right? Was that when it hit? So 3 days out, Irma was, there. And again, the cone, nothing against the cone. Cone's great, but this is what everybody focused on. Then we started to see these subtle little shifts. Here's Thursday still. Now we still had hurricane watches, which is great. And I'm not bashing anything. I'm just talking about how we all focus on these center lines and we don't really think. Now here's almost into Friday. Then we started seeing this shift. And it, that's a pretty, if you follow that center line, that's a pretty big shift. In my opinion. And at one time, Irma was supposed to come to Tampa. Then it did that little curve turn last second. So this year, I'm going to make sure we discuss, don't take your eyes off the outliers. And 2 to 3 days out are very important to spot trends and changing directions. That's all I got to say about that. Dorian James, oh my God, that's a great point. Dorian, I'll never forget Dorian. It was supposed to hit Hispaniola. What year was Dorian? I can't remember. Was it 19? Yes. All right, so Dorian was supposed to dissipate over those big mountains of Hispaniola. Look at this. Again, not bashing any forecast by any means, but at one time Dorian was supposed to be a tropical storm over the Bahamas. Again, turned out to be a massive Category 5 storm over the Bahamas. So intensity, sometimes intensity model, and I remember we were talking about this one, like how is it not going to intensify over those warm Atlantic waters, right? Andrew did it. Others have done it. How is it not going to? And especially if it splits the gap, which it did. So that, that's a huge change, storm to major. I mean, look at that. One time it was supposed to be a storm. And again, look, this is almost, this is Tuesday's forecast. Let's go to, look at that. This is, then they show an H. All right, so Tuesday to Sunday, a little more than 3 days out, but still, it shifted. It turned north and went over Puerto Rico, but it didn't weaken. It was like, oh, wait a minute. And then all of a sudden, we started getting M's. So another storm that, if you only paid attention to originally, then things changed quick, So that's why we love tracking the tropics. We love spaghetti models. Chris, yeah, one thing they're going to do too is they're going to maybe fade the edges of the cone a little bit so it's not so pronounced. He was telling me. So I think adding those watches and warnings are really going to help a lot. So anyway, that was a ramble session there. Yeah, the numbers were intense for Dorian. There's a lot of people worried. Plus, we expanded out a lot too. So I think now that we're on YouTube and X and our own Brew Crew, now it's kind of faded. It's spread out our numbers more. We're not just all our eggs are not in one basket. And I gotta go. I forgot an appointment. Darn it. So, true, Debbie. It's the natural. It's including me. I gotta stop worried about those subtle shifts. Because the effects don't care. They do care. Let me tell you. Here's the problem with subtle shifts. It's that surge. And that is the problem. So, everybody gets the heaviest, south and east, or depends on which direction it's hitting, but basically the right side of the storm. If it's hitting upper Gulf, it's the right side. If it's hitting Florida, it's the south side. But if it hits the East Coast, it's the north side. So it's the right side of a storm. And that little subtle shift can make such a big difference on who gets what because of the heaviest storm. People in Panama told me there's a fine line of storm damage the farther west you went. Obviously everything was eastern side, right side. So those subtle changes mean a lot. So I just went full circle. I love the new cone. Mark, it's kind of hurricane season. Well, no. Well, season's June 1st, but, everybody's talking about it, so I'll talk about it too. So that's it. All right. Well, listen, thanks for letting me ramble. Glad I got to share my stories from the summit yesterday. I was really pleased how that went. Hope that see some of y'all at the Hurricane Expo. I'm also doing one in Palm Harbor May the 11th, and we're doing Dunedin Expo on Tuesday, May 21st. So we have 3 Hurricane Expos coming up in Pinellas County. So anyway, cool. All right. Well, hey, listen, we'll be live Friday. Remember, you can always see when our next Daily Brew is going to be by right here. That's our next Daily Brew will be Friday. And we'll end it here. I always like to point out one of our supporters. So Tiger Dam, good friend of mine. They are those orange temporary seawalls that you've seen all up and down the Florida East Coast during Nicole and Ian. A lot of, oh my God, there's me. I didn't. Oh, it was a video. So I'm gonna have to share that. I did a video with them. Paul's the owner there, good guy. But a lot of our followers, fans across all social said that they have these for their homes, and they're simple. They use water. You don't have to deal with sandbags ever again. So, yeah, it's awesome. I didn't know the video was on there. I'm kind of, I can't wait to watch it. Michelle did it. She did a really good job. So, anyway, I got a link on there. Very cool product for your home. If you got an area that you have to worry about sandbagging doors, it's very easy to use. It's very simple. And you guess what? When you're done with it, you just drain the water and put it back away. It's got a cool little bag, so don't have to deal with sandbags. Trust me. I see them all around our community. Sandbags are great until you don't know what to do with them when you're done. So I got the link right here. Check them out. Good friends of mine if you're interested in that. All right, so we'll be back live Friday. Thanks for tuning in. Hello, Brew Crew. We'll sign off with you guys. Last call. Everybody else, we'll see you Friday. See you, Shelly.